At the Serikunda market, the Director of Planning and Development, Nyuma Kamara, said the council is constructing both the 200 tables and the 190 meters road to allow women move into the market upon completion of construction. She said the women doing their daily business would vacate the occupied Lad Kumba road into the market as to ease the flow of goods and people.
The construction is measuring 190 meters of concrete road, on which currently, as we can see, the market women are occupying right now doing their daily business. We are also constructing a shed and 30 kVs, a shared housing, 200 market woman vendors, which is expected to house the women currently occupying the road. At the end of the construction of this road, all these women occupying this market will be expected to be housed inside the shed, inside the car park, as we just witnessed.
The CEO of Green Vision Company, Usman Toure, said, as a company, they are glad to give back to their country national development plan, and that even whereby the KMC authorities have signed a 3-month contract with his company, he is quite adamant that within a month, Green Vision will surely finish up with works.
The most difficult thing is what we are doing now. To do the job is actually, that is not the problem. And then I hope within a month, all should be done and dusted. And we are grateful that we are part of this and we want to show our ability. We will also contribute to the development. As a company, we have a social responsibility. Our social responsibility, yes, is a company in business looking for profit, but not always a good profit. Sometimes you have to give back. That is our social responsibility. Our description for the iron rod on the road is 8 mm, but we take it upon ourselves to give them 12 mm on this road because of the standard of the road that we see here.
At the end of both contracts, the hundreds of women occupying the main Serikunda Westfield Road and Lad Kumba Road will all be selling inside the market, which will free the road and avoid the frequent traffic jam every evening. Sajo Sambo for Africa TV News.
The settlement reached more than 20 years ago with Good Friday Agreement on the contested border between Ireland and Northern Ireland is under real and imminent threat due to Brexit, Sinn Féin President Mary Lou McDonough warned. The Northern Ireland Nationalist Party leader said Brexit contradicts the 1998 Belfast Agreement, an international deal which ended the sectarian violence in Northern Ireland. Brexit totally comes into conflict with the Good Friday Agreement, which is a peace agreement between Ireland and Britain, an agreement which recognizes that there is a British border on Ireland and that is contested.
Comes into conflict with the Good Friday Agreement, which is a peace agreement between Ireland and Britain. An agreement that recognises that there is a British border on our island that is contested, that has caused division across our society and many decades of conflict. And for that reason, I describe it as an earthquake, because the settlement that we landed on more than 20 years ago is now under real and imminent threat. So I don't use those words to cause controversy or, you know, to exaggerate in any way. I'm saying very frankly that Brexit is bad for Ireland, will damage Ireland even with an agreement, but certainly a crash Brexit would be catastrophic. It would mean that our all-island economy would cease to function properly. It would mean a hardening of the border on our island, which would be the equivalent of building back up the Berlin Wall in political terms. And it would potentially undermine the huge progress that we have made as a society. And as an Irish woman, as a citizen, but also as a political leader, I believe I have a duty to state that very clearly. The border poll, or the referendum on Irish unity, is provided for within the Good Friday Agreement. And I think it's a matter of when, not if, that poll is taken. We have a good deal of work to do in advance of that, because obviously as a society coming out of conflict and looking to the future, we have to have a conversation around how we organise ourselves, what a new Ireland looks like. I think it's a very exciting political prospect. I can't give you an exact date. But I can tell you that the conversation on Irish unity and ending partition, appetite or a desire for violence in Ireland. The war is over. The conflict is over. But it would be a very, very foolish, indeed a deeply stupid person who would gamble with our peace. On the issue of direct rule, that's not an option, and I told Mrs May that last week. That's not on the table. In the event of a crash Brexit, Mrs May would have to, in the first instance, consult with Dublin. It's not just a decision for London alone on the governance arrangement. In the event of a crash Brexit and the worst case scenario, I do not accept that we simply meekly accept that the border is hardened and all of the damage that will bring. If there is a crash, well then there will have to be emergency interventions by Dublin, by London and our partners at a European level, because let me repeat, we cannot have a hard border on the island. We cannot turn the clock back. We cannot go backwards. We can only go forward.
The 45th witness before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, former Lance Corporal Alaji Kebe, has said his life was saved by Sana Sabally after he was accused of being part of the November 11 failed coup. Testifying today at the TRRC, Kebe denied any acknowledgement of the coup. He was nevertheless arrested and brought before Sana Sabally and Edward Singate. He added Sana told him he should not be part of the coup because he, Kebe and Sana shared a personal relationship. As he was trying to explain himself, a shot from Edward Singate came, putting a bullet in his left thigh, driving its way into its right thigh, shattering him. I fell on the floor and there was a pool of blood, said Kebe. Then Edward rushed to him and put a gun to his shoulder to finish him, but Sana Sabally shouted, "Stop." Al-Hassan Sise has more.
Testifying today at the TRRC, former Lance Corporal of Gambia National Army, Alaji Kebe, has refuted claims made by Lieutenant Colonel Babukar Sanyang that he was part of the November 11, 1994 aborted coup. Lieutenant Colonel Sanyang, a TRRC previous witness, had alleged Alaji Kebe went to his house to inform him that they have decided to overthrow the junta regime and he should line up soldiers for preparation. Alaji Kebe refuted those claims and reiterated he was on the oath and speaking between him and God.
We have listened to the evidence of RSM Sanyang, now Lieutenant Colonel Sanyang.
Sanyang, yes.
He mentioned in his evidence that you mentioned that you went to his house.
Yes.
And told him that you and others have decided to remove the council from power, and that you are ready to do that now, and that he should line up men and prepare for it. What do you have to say about that evidence?
I think this is the Quran I sworn in. Between me and the Almighty God that I respect. That never transpired between me and Babukar Sanyang. I went to Babukar Sanyang immediately after I closed my office and passed through my boss. He said, "Let me go to Babukar Sanyang, let him brief me." I went to him, I told him the message. He said he doesn't know what to tell me. That's the time I last see Babukar Sanyang. I never went to Babukar Sanyang's house telling him to, the men are ready, let him tell the men to come out. Who am I, a mere Lance Corporal, to talk to a senior officer like that? And I'm not that type of person.
Further in his revelations, he stated he was arrested and alleged for taking part in the 11 November purported coup. He added he was taken to the barracks and upon arrival, he was instructed to head to the guard room where JCB Mendy hit at the wall and slapped him.
But fortunately, when they opened, I look at them, they look at me, they said, "Kebe, come down." I come down. They said, "Go to the guard room." The time I was going to the guard room, that's the time I raised my head, I saw the clock was 10 minutes to 10. So upon entering the guard room, on the whole there was a man who was hiding himself just beside the wall there by the name JCB Mendy.
What was his rank then?
I think he was a private soldier at the time. So he just gave me a very good slap on my face. I nearly fall down.
Do you know if he was ordered to slap you? Did you hear any orders for him to slap you?
Not necessarily that, but I know it's something that they plan, because JCB alone will never look on Corporal Kebe. much more going to the extent of slapping me. It's just the situation that I was at the time. So
what happened afterwards?
Gave me the slap. I nearly fall down. So I just control myself. Then they asked me to go and sit.
Mr. Alaji Kebe stated there at the barracks, Sana Sabali told him he should have been the last person to join the coup plotters. He responded, "You should know I am not part of anything of such." As they conversed, Edward Singate shot him on his leg and further attempted to kill him.
Be part of anything. So it was a little bit silence between me and him. At the time I had the shot from my left. It went inside this leg and buried itself here. I fall down. So
can you please give us a description of what occurred in that room, where you were, where Sana was, and where the shot came from?
Okay, I was sitting at the corner of the guard room. The provost table is just in front of me like this. So Sana was sitting on the table. At my left hand side, there was a Campbell there where Edu was sitting. I think it's good. I don't see him trying to aim to shoot at me. It could have been more worse on my side. Maybe I will try to defend myself from that bullet that it can touch me somewhere which will do more harm than good.
So the shot came from Edward?
From Edward. So it passed through this left leg and buried itself inside this right one. I fall down. Edward rose and put the pistol on here to finish me, but he was shouted by Sana, "Stop it." That's the time he stopped.
What was the last name of Edward?
Edward Singate.
Mr. Alaji Kebe was enrolled in the Gambia National Army in 1989. He have served in various camps and was detained by the junta regime since 1994 until his release in 1998. Reporting for iAfrica TV, I am Alhassan Sise.
That was Alaji Kebe testifying, who denied knowledge of the November 11 incident. Coming up after the break, Algerian protesters rejected the interim leader named Tuesday to replace former President Abdelaziz Bouteflika as they call for the dismantling of the political hierarchy that has led Algeria for 2 decades.
Europe ni sakonte ko mo pol kan sai na so ko na mano ban te jabo ban ta tulo ban sai ka pol kan da ka ba office ko na ba dama bulo mu tarin ba ka ta sun kila me ko ba to mane ta ya kuri ma ko de ban na ta mano ta ni tulo ni mun da be te la buro da man balwo service kalam mun service balwo service ni da ko ronte mo kalam mun da a fe la buro da ko abitala internet all aya ba sak la woldo balwo.com na wo sajje a ko nga ba download la telephone lo na be sandiro to ni wal na be sidi ngala office ko ndama manjar pour ay ta bank ko kodoki abe sidum office ko ro daminto e do message so e telephone ko no e bitiko be Gambia dawda bitiko ba bele ko ta tano dawda yeta tempo tawo wodama yala bari wo service na ka mo jahan na tanyo le bitam tija na bro dan ka ko tanyo lo ayo ko tija
balwo service dinkirala jampo o manken na kolaya ko balwo service al demano kaje ko ale do mor feŋol sang alla dimbaya moli ana lakkanun tewol wato bela ani wat sudum fanan kono balwo service la dinkiralu ani la do kunyolu e banko karo beto kabirin katon fo koyna nalla fa ko ku ko tan so balwo service la kolto ali commandi telephone line la milbuko 9400213 7694319 wala 3192870 wala hankabi alta internet do alila kolu jibe www.baluwo.com.
Welcome back. We remind you that you're watching the World Today Evening Bulletin. Let's now take a look at the remaining stories. From Syria to Turkey and beyond, President Donald Trump's abrupt declaration that Washington recognizes Israeli sovereignty over the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights continue to draw strong condemnation. The latest to join the condemnation are some well-known British activists, Asa Winstanley, an associate editor for an online campaign group called the Electronic Intifada, said there has been an increasing trend among mainstream Israeli political parties to call for annexing Palestinian land in the West Bank.
Trend for Israeli political parties increasingly in what's considered the mainstream in Israeli political parties to outright annex Palestinian land in the West Bank. And I think with Trump's gift to Netanyahu of recognizing the Syrian Golan as part of so-called Israel, we're going to see increasing trends towards annexation. So the outright annexation of the West Bank is kind of a contradiction for the Zionist movement, because they want maximum land, minimum Arabs. Well, there's millions of Palestinians in the West Bank, and they don't want to give them equality, they don't want to give them voting rights. But nonetheless, that's the direction we're moving in, it looks like.
Referring to Netanyahu's latest remarks on his intent to annex the West Bank, Hannah Phillips, a researcher focusing on human rights challenges in the Middle East, said they are very worrying, saying it is vital that the international community should stay strong in sending Netanyahu a message that the occupation must come to an end and the Palestinians must have full rights within the state.
The Palestinians aren't going to accept that they're going to give up more of their land. They are determined to stay and fight for their land. They're determined to get back the land that they should have had under the resolution from the UN. So that's not going to work. And actually what the Israelis need to do is to sit down with the Palestinians and come up with a sensible solution that meets what everybody wants.
For Kiri Tungs, president of Britain's National Education Union, Palestinian citizens' rights must be upheld. She said they are particularly concerned about the plight of the Palestinian child prisoners who are being routinely detained in an attempt to intimidate the community, and it has to stop.
At the moment, it's vital that the international community stays strong in sending a message to Netanyahu that the occupation must come to an end and that the Palestinians must have full rights within the state. Israel is the only state that holds children in military detention facilities alongside adults, and this is severely worrying. Also, we know that there are hundreds of prisoners who are ill, facing things like cancer, and who are not receiving treatment. So it is vital that we are getting the right kind of health treatment for prisoners as well.
Algerian protesters rejected the interim leader named Tuesday to replace former President Abdelaziz Bouteflika, shouting out with the system, as they call for the dismantling of the political hierarchy that has led Algeria for 2 decades. Within the hour, police moved in on the demonstrators, dousing them with pepper spray, shooting from a water cannon, and using batons to break up the crowd of thousands on a central avenue. Weeks of protests forced Bouteflika to step down last week after 2 decades in office. The protests started February 22nd and have been overwhelmingly peaceful. As called for by the Algerian constitution, Ben Salah was appointed to an interim post for a maximum of 90 days until a new election can be organized. Algeria's parliament on Tuesday named Abdelkader Ben Salah, head of the country's Council of the Nation Upper House of Parliament, as an interim president, replacing Abdelaziz Bouteflika, who resigned last week. This came in a joint session held by the lower and upper houses of Parliament to activate Article 102 of the Algerian constitution. The article states that in the event of the president's resignation or death, the parliamentary speaker should assume executive authority for a 90-day period during which the presidential elections can be conducted. Tuesday's session was attended by 470 members of parliament out of 487, the total number of seats of both chambers. Last week, Bouteflika resigned under protest demanding the departure of all officials affiliated with the former president's regime. Abdelkader Ben Salah was born on 24 November 1941 in Felozane. Persistent rumors, which he regularly denies, suggest he was born in Morocco and became an Algerian citizen after the Algerian War of Independence. After working in Beirut to direct Algerian Center for Information and Culture from 1970 to 1974, he returned to Algeria to work as a journalist at the state newspaper El Shab for 3 years, before being elected to represent the province of Lemsen in 1977. 12 years later, he was appointed ambassador to Saudi Arabia, a position he held until 1993. As a member of the centrist Democratic National Rally (RND), he was president of the National Transitional Council from 1994 to 1997 and of the People's National Assembly from 1997 to 2002. Since July 2002, he has served as President of the Council of the Nation, the upper house of Parliament. He replaced Abdelaziz Bouteflika for some presidential duties like welcoming foreign leaders to Algeria during the last part of the former president's tenure. He was a strong ally of the latter, supporting his fifth candidacy even during the 2019 Algerian protests. Many Algerians have actually expressed their lack of confidence with the newly appointed interim president. Growth in sub-Saharan Africa has been downgraded to 2.3% for 2018, down from 2.5% in 2017, according to the April 20